Live because you should live your life the way that you want to and enjoy it. And you should live it fully without trying to meet any other person's expectations of what it should be.
Nothing is impossible with God and determination.
A good reputation is far better than riches, and loving favor is better than silver or gold.
How can I grow? Where can I give? What can I celebrate?
I believe for one to reach their fullest potential, they have to be consistent in every aspect of their lives.
Fill up every space that you're in. Fill up. Your presence must always be felt. Even when you leave, people must still talk about the amazing work that you did.
Comparison is the thief of joy, and joy is the most important thing you have in this lifetime, so safeguard it with all you've got. If you're going to create in this lifetime, you must create from gratitude.
Mishimo is a simple village girl from Limpopo in Venda, Shandima, who is just full of life. My fondest childhood memories would be my mother was a hairdresser and she had a baking company as well. And my dad was, he owned taxis, so that was fun for me because I learned a lot from them. I never imagined myself in the beauty space. I was always interested in beauty. I was always interested in playing with people's hair, people's faces, trying to make people look good, my aunts, my grandmother. But I never really thought it would be a part of my career. I started school in Soweto, moved to Venda, came back to Joburg for varsity. One of the things I studied is somatology, and that is the study of skin health and beauty. That's where the beauty side of things was born, like the Tsikwa Beauty Spa business. So yeah, that's how it came about. Tsikwa Beauty Spa came about when I was sitting with a graphic designer who was supposed to design a logo for me. I didn't have a name for the business yet, so he said to me, think of something creative that would describe you and you link that up with your business. So because I love creation and nature so much, I decided to call it Tsikwa. Sometimes you get people that book you and they do not really specify. They are terms of professional ethics that they work with. So sometimes that is pretty inconveniencing. Some of the challenges that we've also faced is that we work with different characters. So when you're working with different characters, you always have to be, positive, because you don't know what a person is going through. So you always have to channel positive energy. So it's not really a challenge, but it's something that because I'm always positive, but the people that I hire, I always gotta, help them, realize that this is, as much as this is work, we also have to stay positive so that we also exude positive influence to other people. In all the things that I've achieved, I think I've done a great job. I've worked with some of the greatest productions in the industry, and I've worked with some of the greatest people and the greatest government officials. So that has been great, and I could say those are some of the achievements. Well, I think for some people, success looks very good when it's on others. But for me, what I believe that if what I've worked for 10 years, right, I can actually enjoy the successes of what I've worked for 10 years in 1 year. And for some people, they think that you can just get it overnight. So what I'd advise the girls out there in South Africa is that if you want something so bad, you must be really willing to work hard, because you can achieve something in 1 year and someone else can achieve it in 10 years. But what you gotta do is you gotta remain consistent.
Everything in one sentence is butterfly. Butterfly from Kuruman. Growing up in a village in Metimanzi with my big family, my grandmother, my grandfather, my aunt, my cousins, it was just amazing. And basically I grew up among being the only girl among the boys, and you know how boys are, they will always try to squeeze you out of the group. So I was always trying to find my way to be part of the group and be included. So there was a lot of fighting then. There. And one of my greatest part of being a child in the family that I was raised from is basically every Sunday I attended about 3 different churches. And it was very fun for me. I experienced a whole lot. And also my family being what it was or what it is, they allowed me to be a child. They allowed me to have my imagination free. I spent a lot of time alone, and so I had imaginary friends. Imagine, from the village I had imaginary friends, and my parents were just okay with that. They allowed me to just explore what my mind had was bringing to me. So my childhood was pretty good. I started going to school at Mitimansi Primary School. Then I went to Hamahana Junior Secondary School, and I matriculated at Halaletan Science High School. And then I came to Joburg to do bachelor degree in journalism at University of Johannesburg Kingsway campus. It was fun, actually. I think school for me was my place of discovery. I discovered a lot about what I was good at. That's where I found my passion in arts. My passion in everything that I was doing growing up, in charity work, community development, everything. It actually started from school. Ntabizon Korengane Foundation began when I realized that I needed to take my passion for charity initiatives or community development into a more professional manner. And then there was a group of 2 or 3 young people that I worked with in Kuruman that I realized that they really on board in this initiative of developing the community. And then I spoke to them. I was like, I would like to develop this and make it into more of a professional thing than just us doing it for passion, because when we started out, we were just doing it to develop the community, but we realized that we needed help, and to get business to partner with you, it requires like an actual recognition. So that's how the Ntabizon Korengane Foundation got registered, and then we continue doing beauty pageants, mentoring of kids through the foundation. Some of the challenges that I faced with the foundation, well, actually there's only one main challenge that we have faced or that we are facing with the foundation, and that is financial assistance or financial sponsorship. Because most companies, when we approach them, they look at beauty pageants industry not as something that is very developmental for young people. They look at it as just an entertainment or a hobby kind of a thing that nobody learns anything from, because they just see the glitz and glam of a girl or a young male walking on the ramp, looking beautiful, showing off their beauty, but they do not realize actually the depth, the introspection that was taken into making sure that what you see on stage looks beautiful and looks authentic, because there's a lot of development that goes ahead like backstage.
So financial sponsorship has been a challenge for us because we do a lot of programs that require money for them to be successful, that require money for us to be able to make sure that these kids have the best experience in what we give to them. My biggest achievement with the foundation is seeing the kids happy. Is basically seeing them looking at themselves and realizing that they're actually capable of anything that they put their minds to. And one of the greatest challenges, or one of the greatest achievement actually, has been when we managed to take one of our 14-year-old girl to go and represent South Africa in Georgia in England last year. That has been one of our greatest achievements because we took a young girl from a village who did not know anything. When she met us, she did not know anything. We took her from the ground, we trained her, we mentored her, and the community of Kuruman, of which we are really grateful for because they've always supported us, they help us raise funds to actually assist us to achieve this goal of taking our girls to an international stage. That has been one of our greatest achievements, and also having a couple of other girls participating in national pageant, of which they came out holding like one of those big titles. So it has been an amazing journey for us. We're still young, but I believe we've really grown well. I have always believed that we are different parts of the same body. I believe that everybody is unique in their own way. So you do not have to try and fit in. Rather try and strive to actually stand out. Because what you stand out in is actually complementing the whole part of the body. So if everybody was just sticking to their own uniqueness, it will just be magical. So I believe that everybody must just be themselves, believe in who they are, and allow their colors to come through, and allow everybody to walk into their universe and see how amazing they are and how powerful they are. And each and every one of us has a talent to give out, and we need to be able to look into those talents and make the most out of it. I think that is the whole purpose of why we are here. And to every young girl or every young boy that is out there that is looking up to me, I would love to say to them that they need to believe in themselves. They need to love themselves. Like, believing in yourself is the greatest start of everything that you want to do in life. Because once you believe in yourself, you will listen to your dreams. Once you believe in yourself, you listen to what you want to do and you will follow your heart. So it's always the best option of them all.
I'm just a young, bright South African girl who's destined to live out her purpose. My childhood was so free. I come from a family of 4, my sister, myself, and my parents, my mom and dad. And I say my childhood was free because I was literally allowed to do whatever pleased me and whatever I was passionate about. So my mom would support every dream, desire, activity I would put my name on, which was everything. I played netball and hockey because I had so much energy. My mom wanted me to be like a Williams sister, so she put us in tennis. Wasn't that great at that. I was involved in athletics. I was the senior discus champion. I mean, I don't look athletic now, but I was. And I did also cultural activities. So I played chess, I was part of speech and drama, I stayed phys and poetry, and I wrote plays, and I was also academically strong. So that was my childhood, busy. My educational background was, I've always been in a girls' school. So literally from pre-primary for 2 years, junior school and high school. So 14 years of my life, I've been in a girls' school called Collegiate Girls School in Port Elizabeth. And then I went to Nelson Mandela University and I studied public relations and communications. I did the national diploma and then I did the BTech thereafter. So with that qualification, we were so busy as well. From the first year, launching a real business, to second year, adopting an NGO and getting fundraising and sponsorship going. And third year, I actually had to do my in-service training. So that was 8 months, or really a year for me, at work full-time and studying, and then I did my BTech. So yeah, that was my educational background. I did not always know that I wanted to be in the PR and communication space. I actually wanted to be a doctor, a pediatrician actually, until I realized I don't really like blood, so that wasn't going to work out. But because of my personality and character and everything that I've been involved in, I thought, let me do events management. But once I found out about PR and communications and what it encompasses, which also includes events management, that's what I went for. So not really a doctor, but maybe a spin doctor, so they call us. So with university and my qualification, in the third or fourth year, for digital media and marketing, we had to start a blog. So, and the blog could be about anything that you're passionate about. So I just realized that my content was always about empowering women and seeing women in the community, and what they do and how they uplift and help other people. And so my focus wasn't like what the glossy magazines have been doing, just profiling, rich women. It was really those who make a difference. And from seeing that pain point of these women not having much, but doing all that they can for other people, that's when the Womandla Foundation actually started, in wanting to make a tangible difference in the community. And now it's a registered non-profit company. We're about informing, equipping, and inspiring women and girls in the African diaspora to basically fulfill their destinies, and also to change the status quo, to change their economic status. And how do we do that practically? We partner with organizations or universities or companies, and bring programs for women of all ages to attend and either equip themselves with knowledge for, the business sector, media, the technologies. I mean, we're having a coding programs running soon. So we really do try to equip people in the community to do better and to actually just broaden their horizon and their knowledge. Challenges that I face with Womandla Foundation is definitely, it's really been a challenge just personally, as I'm growing into someone else and evolving into a leader. And I think a challenge for me would be leading people who are about the same age group as me. And also fundraising is a major challenge for us. Securing funds and making sure that projects that we have planned are fully funded for us to reach the objective of what we are trying to do. So it's also making sure that everything is run well. Governance is important. And yes, just that those are the business challenges that I have learned and experienced so far. Just don't do it. Don't fit into a mold, because yes, there's a stage in your life where you want to be like everyone else, or you want to be popular, or you want to do things that your friends are doing, or study what they are doing. But it's really important to try and find who you are as yourself. And you can do that by getting involved in a lot of community projects, doing activities, traveling. I love traveling, and just seeing how other people do things and how they are authentically themselves. And you'll realize that trying to be like someone else will always only mean that you are a step behind them. So, but when you are yourself and not trying to fit into a mold, you can be the best possible version and excel at just being you.
Boitumelo Rametse is a walking embodiment of God consciousness and a body positive philanthropist. My fondest childhood memories would have to be growing up with my mother. She was actually a single mom. She still is. But yeah, being raised by my mom has been one of the greatest things because she's taken me through every experience that she's also been through as much as she could. You can only take it so far. But going with her places, being her little handbag, and just experiencing life in her eyes was a fun childhood. I would like to say I had a really good education, in the essence that I was in a Model C school. And the reason I say that was because back then it made more sense to be in a school that is white dominated and that can essentially get you so far in life. So I grew up pretty well off. I went to nursery school in Kempton Park, came to Joburg and went to school at Jeppe Primary School. That was a co-habit school with boys and girls, and Jeppe Girls, and then Vega School of Branding. So the brand started off with me doing makeup. It started out with my sister, who requested that I help out doing makeup at a modeling agency that just happened to lose a makeup artist. And diving into that made me realize that I could just make a living out of my natural talent. And I started doing makeup and photography as well, and I just happened to have an eye for good things. And yeah, that was about it, and that's how the brand started. That I faced was about a year or two after I started the brand, which was when every artist was starting to emerge in South Africa. We had a lot of makeup artists emerging and a lot of photographers, and it was a matter of finding your space and how you uniquely identify yourself. And I struggled doing that, but within my journey of self-awareness, I managed to have a better understanding as to how I can articulate the brand better, which is by celebrating everybody's unique diversity and difference, and celebrating their godly consciousness within them. So I started being about celebrating that as opposed to just doing makeup or taking photos. The best I could say would be the beginning. The beginning being between 10 and 5 and Google Intimates, which was a shoot that happened a couple of years ago. And that was my first underwear shoot. And that was the beginning of me celebrating my body, being comfortable within the presence of other human beings that could easily judge me. And from there on, it was just a journey of self-celebration, self-realization, and working with a lot of photographers. So I wouldn't necessarily say my best moment or highlight would be a brand, because brands really do come and go, but I'm grateful for the name and association and working together. But the experience through it is what I enjoyed the most, and engaging with the people behind the work. So I give a huge credit and highlight to the photographers that I've been working with. Fitting to a mold would be the biggest mistake anybody would make. I'd like to see my generation of people be the generation of self-realization, and as to how we came to see that the system and what we were raised in is something that we needed to break out of. So within doing that, and we've all realized that we should be planting a seed into the younger kids and speaking to the younger versions of ourselves to be authentically and uniquely beautiful, and always stick to being the best version of yourself, because that is your superpower.
Womandla, in one sentence, is definitely a multifaceted, passionate, and driven young African woman. Some of my fondest childhood memories include, I just had a light bulb moment, my dad bought me a camera when I was 7 years old, but it was one of those cameras that used to change into animals, and you could see different animals. So I think that for me has just been, I always look back at my life and kind of like put dots together of like the type of person that I am now. And I always look at such examples that growing up and being very resilient and wanting things to happen, being hardworking, and yeah. Started school at Calvin College. It's in a small town in Burgersfort, which is in Limpopo, between Limpopo and Mpumalanga. And I was what you would call a teacher's pet from a very early age. So I would literally be there for my teachers. I would get chosen for plays, literally everything. I became student of the year twice, became head girl, and I was very involved in all the activities that they had at school. So you can imagine, here's this child who like literally knows everyone by name at school, and my parents decided to dump me in Eastern Cape, which is in Grahamstown, which is in Eastern Cape. And I developed a whole lot of social anxiety. I became very depressed. I didn't fit into Rose University during my year of studying journalism, and I decided to move to Joburg, where I enrolled for film and TV at Wits University. And even then I just didn't feel I was suited for the schooling system, because I would go to school but I would not talk to anyone. But if you find me in the streets or you find me at events, I'm easily talking to people and I get along with people and I just fit in. So I decided to quit film and TV in 2017 mid-year, and I focused fully on my business. Did I think that I would get into the digital space? Most likely not. I think it all happened by coincidence. I don't believe in coincidence, but I believe that like everything that you do in your life kind of like makes you destined for certain things. So if I look back, I started an online magazine with a group of friends, and we used to showcase the creative talent in our hometown. I was very much involved in the content planning, the content creation, and even during my high school years, my sister opened a salon, and I used to do social media for it. At that time, I didn't know what it was called, but I just like used to go there, take pictures and post, and going forward has just like been a thing that I've been doing. And now if I look back, I'm like, oh, actually that's where it started. Rivasari Creates started in 2018 of April, and I just wanted for young female entrepreneurs to have access to agency services. So I'm someone who works with whatever it is that I have. Like since the inception of my company, which was in 2015, I've always like took whatever it is that I have and made it into something bigger and greater. And I wanted to give young female entrepreneurs that same opportunity. So I started Rivasari Creates for us to be an agency for young female entrepreneurs, to say, even if you have 500 rands, let's see how we can help you become visible digitally. Let's see how we can create content for your business, and let's see like all the services that we can offer to you that will be beneficial for you as a business. The challenges that I've been facing with Rivasari Creates is not knowing, or I may put it like this, having to really start off slow and understand that like, okay, this is the pace that we're gonna go at. Even though there are responsibilities that need to be taken off, and I have a life to live, but for me, running a passion project or running a passion company comes with that, or running a purpose-driven company comes with understanding that like you have to grow with your clients. In the world of instant gratification becomes very difficult, because it's just like, but I also want to drive a Mercedes-Benz, I want to do this, I want to do that. But yeah, it's just being patient. I think being patient has been like a very huge challenge. It's so many of them. I don't necessarily choose one person that I put on a pedestal and say, okay, this is the person and this is my blueprint for life. So I always look into the lives of different women. There's this one lady that I work with from Nilotica, Tokozile, and I always look at her and I love her work ethic. I love the passion that she puts into her business and how she's constantly honest with her entrepreneurship journey. So I love looking at such people and for them and understanding that, like, constantly making it aware for us as young female entrepreneurs who have just started to say, you will get there, but don't expect the road to be easy and don't expect it not to be bumpy. So I think I always look at different young or different female entrepreneurs and I'm just like, wow, okay, this is what you're doing and this is actually where you're headed. Same as Afua Osei from Nigeria. She leads Africa and she's just so amazing in being authentically herself but running this amazing tribe of this company that has a tribe of female entrepreneurs who are always supporting each other. So yeah, I think I enjoy that about African women, that they can run these huge businesses but also are always true to themselves. I would definitely say don't do it at all. Don't try to fit in with anyone. Always remember who you are, and even if people inspire you, take bits and pieces from them. I wouldn't want people to see my Instagram live or the person that I am on social media and feel like that's my life. That's not my life. I'm Tabatso. I cry when I get home because I've had a long day. I cry when a boy breaks my heart, but I won't put that on social media. I cry because we have arguments at home, and sometimes like things are not always as glamorous and as great as they look. So you can take bits and pieces of me. If you love my work ethic, take that from me. If you love my resilience, take that from me. If you love the fact that I'm outgoing and I'm this, take that, but always remember to keep your identity and always be yourself. Like, that's the most important thing about growth and wanting to be successful. The richest people in the world, I believe, have been themselves from the beginning.
Foxy Noxy is a free-spirited, eclectic, creative. My fondest memory has to be when I was 5 and I was in boarding school. So I was one of those kids who always played alone. I always found a little corner where I'd play with my dolls. Did accounting, business studies, and instead of doing art, which is what I actually wanted to do, which was my first choice. So, and then when I transitioned to varsity, I did accounting as well, which was also not in my element. I had a hard time actually enjoying the subject, even though I was fairly good at it. And I went back every year because my dad convinced me that, but you're doing a good job, you should carry on. And after you finish this, you're going to be a CA. And I thought about it. I was like, yes, financial security, is important. But I realized along the way that I was not going to be happy pursuing something that does not, define me, that is not authentically myself. So when I dropped out of school, yes, the parents were worried, but they eventually understood that my calling or my purpose is in the creative industry. Color Grounds with Toes is my baby. It came about when I was doing my second year at varsity, and we were encouraged to start our own production company so we can understand how the industry works outside of school. So when I started it, I I used it from there on as a platform to express myself. So I started creating my own content just outside of school and also using it for school as well. So even when I started it, Color Grass with Toes defines who I am. The name itself talks about my free-spirited nature, my hippie nature, as people sometimes would put it. The color of it talks about diversity, talks about coming together of people, ideas, cultures. And grass talks about the natural element, Mother Nature source. And with Toes speaks about the human element of creativity, because as humans, we're creators. We have the power to create and to also destroy. So with Toes talks about balance, and toes actually help the body balance. So without toes, we wouldn't be able to actually balance. So that's how it came about, and then it transitioned to a full-on production company. I registered it when I was doing my first year as a professional. I was working as a lecturer teaching film and television, and then one day I then registered my company. I decided this is what I want to do, this is my calling, this is my purpose. And then I worked as a content creator for a small production company, and then afterwards I left my job. And in that moment where I left my job, I felt so lost. I felt like, what is happening? For the first time in my life, I felt like I had no control on anything that was happening in my career. And career is such an important element in my life. I'm having doubts now as it is, as we are sitting right here. Running a business is not easy, and I'm at a point where I'm transitioning from just small clients to taking on bigger clients. So that is a whole lot that comes into that. I need to start bringing on other people on board. So it means I need to start thinking about salaries. I need to start thinking bigger when it comes to equipment. So it's really crazy. I won't even lie, a couple of days ago I was thinking, maybe girl, just find yourself a rich husband and forget about this whole business thing. But I just really, really love what I'm doing, So that whole transition, I'm taking it slowly but surely, and also adjusting myself by reading more self-help books and motivating myself, and finding mentors and just trusting the whole process. Thing I've noticed, the more I create content, is that we are required to tell stories in a certain way, and it really limits you as a creative when you are told that this is the story, and as a woman you belong more on the production side rather than getting your hands dirty. So I feel like that whole thing limits us as Black females, when we are very expressive, and we want to tell our stories in the most authentic way. So my advice is to always be authentically yourself in every environment, in every space. Stand up for your beliefs, stand up for stand up for your philosophy.
Kutlwano in one sentence is exactly what my name means. So my name means understanding, or bringer of understanding. And I think if I were to summarize it, I would say Kutlwano is someone who seeks understanding over perfection. My roots, and I moved a lot as a kid. And so I think the base I had was my grandmother's house, or on my mom's side. That's where I really learned myself creatively. I think some of the fondest memories I have, I was the performer kuntung. I was the one in the house who wrote plays, and I used to write letters and apparently love novels, according to my aunt, and perform them in the garden. And everybody thought I was the strange kid who used to speak to herself. But that's when I started learning about performance. Another thing that was really fun was I really enjoyed dancing at weddings. I used to make quite a bit of money back in the days. So I was the kid they called, and they'll throw money at me or pin it to my thing. And I really enjoyed performing, and I think at a young age I knew the power of performance. So I started like formal school in 1993, which was just before our country, changed dispensation. So I started Sacred Heart College, which is an observatory. And when I started grade 1, there was like 6 of us in the whole school that were brown girls and boys. So I went to a conventional Model C school. For those of you who are very young who don't know what Model C means, before Mandela was president and the dispensation changed, there was Model A, Model B, Model C schools. So Model A was all white and other races were not allowed in that school. And then Model C was the schools that were allowed to then intake black students slowly, or brown students, so Indian, colored, and African children. So I was in part of that first cohort. It was very weird experience for the first 2-3 years. I didn't know how to speak the English language. I had to learn from TV and from my teachers that were patient enough with me. And as the years grow on and I went to high school, it changed and there was more and more black people in the school system. From Sacred Heart, much to my parents' dismay, I forgoed a bursary to Wits to become a lawyer and decided to become a filmmaker. And there I went to AFTA Johannesburg and specialized in cinematography. So one of my specializations is video work and cinematography, content creation. And from AFTA, I think I really then empowered myself with a lot of business certificates. And at some point, I also did a graphic design course. So I'm the type of person, if I don't know something, I'm going to find a course, I'm going to find a piece of paper so that I know it. And that's been my educational journey. So Rainbow Conscious Creatives came about in 2009, actually. So when I left AFTA with my soulmates, who are my business partners, we all got an opportunity to work at the SABC for a bit, and we were all doing different jobs. I was an intern in the promo department. Kule was an editor at Henley Studios. Mukundi was doing the 7 o'clock news and editing that as well. We were so bored and so uninspired and felt like we were punked by school because this was now what working looks like. We decided to then all go overseas and find ourselves. So Tule went to Florence, Italy and studied studio art. Mukundi went to Seoul in South Korea and she taught English. And I got an opportunity to go to Shanghai, China and be in a movie for a couple of months. And when we came back, just before we came back, Mukundi contacted me and said, hey guys, I just entered this competition called the 48-Hour Film Project. And it's so cool, I think we could buy the rights and run it in South Africa because there's no African city that's running it. We then put, at the time there was 4 of us at Rainbow, we then put 4 salaries together and bought the rights. I think at the time it was like a $200 or $300. And bought the rights for 48, and we began it in Johannesburg in 2010, and then we stopped doing it in 2013. It was an amazing journey. We got to do it in Joburg, Durban, Cape Town, Gaborone, and even Nairobi, and we hosted 5 cities. Made over 400 short films underneath our belt. And what was great about 48 is that it's a timed competition where people must make a film within 5 to 7 minutes from Friday to Sunday, and you must hand in a finished product on Sunday, and you don't know what you're going to shoot. So it's like an amazing race for filmmaking. We stopped doing it in 2013 because project management is hard, and we sold the rights. And we then became a production company, which didn't work out. That I think was one of our first business failures. We were 3 freelancers trying to run a business and we knew nothing about business. So luckily, we used our wisdom and got into a development program called the Hope Factory. And they then for 18 months taught us taxation, budgeting, cash flow management. They taught us branding, marketing. They taught us positioning. They taught us how to write a business plan, things we had never done at school before. And that empowered us to then start an agency in 2016. We got an amazing opportunity to create a campaign for Ariel hand wash soap to thank our mothers, and who else uses hand wash soap except our moms. So we made a campaign called Impossible to Possible because those women make the impossible possible. So as Rainbow Conscious Creatives, we've overcome 2 major obstacles in our business career. The first one, which I didn't realize at the time, but the first one was confidence. We noticed that confidence and cash flow go together. When our confidence was lower and we were insecure, we weren't making a lot of money, and our bank statement was surely reflecting that. But when we were confident and we stood in our own power, we were attracting a lot more clients. And so we looked at this thing called creative confidence. Sometimes you feel as if other people are smarter than you, or they have better ideas, or maybe they are, I don't know, a lot more affluent money-wise than you are. And that's not the case. What we realize is that what people have that makes them successful is confidence. Confidence in who they are, what their story is, and what they're trying to change in the world. So we really took our time as Brainbow to work on our confidence. I mean, at the time when we were a production company, we didn't have a website. We didn't have anything written up about us. There were no Google analytical words where you could find Brainbow. Imagine, no one knew about us. And that was a confidence issue. So we realized that we have to stand in the light of our confidence in order to attract more clients and more money. In 2018, our company got its biggest award. We went to New York in April last year, and we were part of the Mobile Marketing Association Awards. They take all the winners around the world and they rank them from 1 to 100 for best business impact. And we came number 7 and started celebrating in the crowd already. And then we realized that number 6 was Ogilvy. And we knew we were onto something in terms of business. The advice I would give upcoming African young women about fitting into a mold is don't do it. First of all, that mold was created without you in mind. That mold is usually made for a man. That mold is usually made for white people who have a certain amount of privilege. That mold is usually made for people who wanted to keep the abundance of the creative economy to themselves and didn't want to share it. So if you fit into there, unfortunately, you lose yourself. I think as creative brown women and girls, we fold ourselves too much to fit. Even the sentence of fitting into a mold is quite violent. You have to squeeze yourself, and let's talk the truth. African women, we don't fit anywhere. So trying to fit in there will only hurt us and cause a lot of mental health issues. So I would say unfold yourself. There's no mold you're going to fit in. Unfold yourself and spread yourself out.